the 1920s classic children's book series Uncle Wiggily's Adventures, written by Howard R. Garis, illustrated by Lang Campbell, and read by Grandma Nana. Thank you for joining Uncle Wiggily and I. Uncle Wiggily's AutoSled Adventure 2. "What are you going to do when you finish shoveling that path, Uncle Wiggily?" asked Nurse Jane Fuzzy Wuzzy, the muskrat lady housekeeper. "Oh, nothing special," answered the bunny rabbit. "Then perhaps you will take this pail of rice pudding over to Mr. Twisty-tail, the pig gentleman," asked Nurse Jane. "He isn't feeling very well, and maybe some rice pudding will do him good." "I'll take it over as soon as I finish cleaning off the snow," said the rabbit gentleman. "Well, where are you going, Floppy and Curly?" asked Uncle Wiggily, as he met the two piggy boys with their snowplow when he was on his way to take Nurse Jane's rice pudding to Mr. Twisty-tail. "Oh, we were just making a path to your bungalow," answered Floppy. "Well, I'm going to your house to take your father some rice pudding because he is ill," said the rabbit gentleman. "Good," grunted Floppy and Curly. "We'll ride you there on our snowplow." Curly and Floppy gave Uncle Wiggily a nice ride to their penhouse. When the rabbit gentleman saw Mr. Twisty-tail sitting near the fire, wrapped in a bedquilt and with his feet in a tub of hot water, Mr. Longears was very sorry for his friend. "Eat some of Nurse Jane's rice pudding. That will make you feel better." Mr. Twisty-tail gave Floppy and Curly each a taste of the pudding. "Oh, I wish there was a whole lot of it," grunted Curly, and Floppy said the same thing. "I'll make a pudding," promised Uncle Wiggily. "Oh, will you really make us a pudding?" asked Floppy. "I'll make you a snow pudding. Just ask your mother to let me take some eggs, sugar, molasses, nutmeg, and a few things like that. Then I'll easily make a snow pudding." Curly and Floppy clapped their feet in delight. "But our mother isn't home," said Floppy. "She went to the store for some medicine for Daddy's cold." Mr. Longears said Mrs. Twisty-tail didn't really need to be home. "We'll go to the kitchen and make the pudding ourselves," he said. "Let me see now," said Uncle Wiggily, as the pudding was almost finished. "I have put in the sugar, milk, eggs, and coconut. And you put in the snow to make it like ice cream, didn't you, Curly, my boy?" The little piggy chap said he had put in plenty of snow. "And now I have forgotten how to put in the nutmegs to make the pudding spicy. I forget whether you put them in whole like hickory nuts or grate them up fine like powder. I really have forgotten. I guess I'll put them in whole." I think there's going to be a problem. At last the snow pudding was finished. Uncle Wiggily dropped into it the full box of whole, hard, round nutmegs. "They ought to give it a fine flavor, just like lemonade," said the rabbit gentleman, as he set the pudding out in the snow of the back porch to cool and freeze like ice cream. Curly and Floppy were sure they would. "We'll give Daddy some of the nice snow pudding when he wakes up," said Floppy, "and we'll save some to give to Mother when she comes home," spoke Curly. "Hello, what have we here?" asked the Pipsisewah as he and the Skeezicks jumped over the snowdrift and sneaked up to the piggy boy's house. The Skeezicks gave a grunt. "I was just wondering that myself. I saw Uncle Wiggily set it out. It must be something good." They took a sniff, and the Pip cried, "It's a pudding! Hooray! Lucky I have this long-handled spoon. I'll dip it in, and we'll take turns eating this pudding. If we can't get Uncle Wiggily's souse, we'll have his pudding. Come on." "Here you are, my friend," said the Pipsisewah as he dipped up a large spoonful of the snow pudding and held it out toward the skinny Skeezicks. "Have a big bite." The Skeezicks saw something drop from the spoon the Pip had just used. "What are those things?" asked the Skee. "Oh, just large, fat, juicy raisins, I guess," the Pip answered. "Take a hard bite now, and I'll do the same." As the Pip and Skee were eating the pudding, Uncle Wiggily opened the door and saw them. He and the boys were surprised. "Ha ha!" laughed Uncle Wiggily as he saw the Pip and Skee run away. "Ho ho! That's the time I fooled them." They saw the bad chaps running away, holding their jaws. "They bit too hard on the nutmegs in our pudding," said the bunny rabbit. "I remember now. I should have grated the nutmegs. It's just as well I didn't, or else the Pip and the Skee would have eaten it all. I can pick out the whole nutmegs, grate one, and our pudding will be as good as ever." And it was. And that's the end of Adventure 2 of AutoSled. Uncle Wiggily's AutoSled Adventure 3. Uncle Wiggily Longears, the bunny rabbit gentleman, was out walking in the snow-covered fields one day when he met Sammie and Susie Littletail, the two rabbit children, and Johnny and Billy Bushytail, the two squirrel brothers. "Where are you going, Uncle Wiggily?" asked Susie. "Oh, just to look for an adventure," replied Mr. Longears. "Don't you want to come?" They started, Uncle Wiggily holding Susie's paw, the boys throwing snowballs. "I'd like to see the bad Pipsisewah or the Skeezicks now," said Billy. "Why do you want to see the Pipsisewah or Skeezicks, Billy?" asked Johnny, the other squirrel boy. "Oh, so I could throw snowballs at 'em," answered Billy, "and pay them back for trying to get Uncle Wiggily's souse." The bunny rabbit made some holes in the snow with his red, white, and blue striped rheumatism crutch, and then, all of a sudden, Susie cried, "Well, you have your wish, Billy Bushytail. Look, there's the Skeezicks now, and the Pipsisewah, and the bad fox are with him. Oh, oh, what shall we do?" When Uncle Wiggily saw the bad Pipsisewah, the Skeezicks, and the fuzzy fox, the rabbit gentleman said, "Come on, we must run as fast as we can to get away from these creatures." And Uncle Wiggily ran, pulling Susie along by her paw. Johnny and Billy scampered along. "Take your white handkerchief off that stick, Sammie," called Billy to the rabbit boy, "else they'll think we have surrendered, and we haven't. We're going to fight 'em. Take down the white flag." "Run along, children, run along," cried Uncle Wiggily. Sammie and Susie and Johnny and Billy ran over the hard, cold water of a frozen brook. "What are you going to do, Uncle Wiggily?" asked Susie when the little girl rabbit was safe on the other side of the brook. "I'm going to make a hole in the ice so the Pip, the Skee, and the fox can't cross it and get us, I hope." With his crutch he made a hole in the ice, but the Pip, Skee, and fox had not given up the chase. On they came, faster and faster. After Uncle Wiggily had chopped a hole in the ice with his crutch, he ran on with the animal children. But Susie, looking back, cried, "Oh, Uncle Wiggily, see what they're doing!" And surely enough, the bad chaps had pulled some boards off a fence, and making a bridge of them, had crossed the hole in the ice and still kept on after Uncle Wiggily and the animal children. "We must have our souse today," said the Pip, also the Skee, and the funny fox joined in the chorus. I think that's pretty clever that they made that little bridge. "Oh, Uncle Wiggily!" cried Susie, after she had run on a little further, after the Pip, Ski, and Fox had crossed the ice on the fence boards. "Oh, Uncle Wiggily, I can't go another step." "I'll carry you," said the brave rabbit gentleman. "We won't leave you behind, Susie, for the bad Pipsisewah." Susie cuddled down in Uncle Wiggily's warm fur coat. Billy threw a snowball at the bad Chaps. All of a sudden, Sammy cried, "Oh, if we can reach the old snow fort we made last week, maybe we will be saved." Running fast, Uncle Wiggily and his little animal friends reached the old snow fort before the Pip, Ski, and Fox could catch them. But the bad Chaps still came on. "Quick now!" cried Uncle Wiggily. "We must get ready to snowball the bad Chaps." Susie made herself a little red cross from a piece of Johnny's red neckerchief, and Sammy gave his sister his white handkerchief to tear up into bandages in case any of them should be hurt in the battle soon to take place. "We want souse!" howled the Pip. "Come on now!" cried the Pip to the Ski and Fox. "We must charge on them in the fort. We must capture Uncle Wiggily." The Ski and Fox ran up the hill with the Pip. "Ouch! Wouch!" cried the Ski. "Someone hit me in the eye with a snowball." Uncle Wiggily had made lots of snowballs for the animal boys to throw at the enemy. "Bang away! Bang away!" cried brave Uncle Wiggily. "Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!" shouted the boys, while Nurse Cross Susie was all ready with rolls of bandages. The boys threw so many hard snowballs over the wall of the fort at the Pip, Ski, and Fox that the bad animals were glad enough to run away. "Oh, wow! Come on out of this!" howled the Pip to the Ski, and down the hill they ran. "Hoist the flag! We've won the fight!" cried Sammy. He made a banner from red and blue pieces of Billy and Johnny's neckerchiefs and pieces of white from his own handkerchief. A hole was in Uncle Wiggily's hat, but Susie bandaged it up. The snow fort saved Uncle Wiggily. It seems the snow fort saved everybody this day. That was a fun story. Thank you for joining Uncle Wiggily and I. I see you, I love you, and I will miss you until I see you again. All of a sudden, oops, I've got to put out mouse traps, The bunny rabbit made some holes in the snow with his red and white. Start over. A hole was in Uncle Wiggily's hat, but Susie bandaged it up. The snow fort was... "Oh, wow! Come on, out of this!" howled the Pip to the... The snow fort saved Uncle Wiggily. We'll do that last paragraph again. The hole. A hole was in Uncle Wiggily's hat, but Susie bandaged... A hole was in Uncle Wiggily's hat. A hole was in Uncle Wiggily's hat, but Susie bandaged it up. The snow fort saved Uncle Wiggily. What are you going to do when you finish shoveling that path, Uncle Wiggily? Let's do that over. I was right. We're going to start over. I was right. "Let me see now," said Uncle Wiggily, as the pudding was almost finished. It was finished? Okay. "And now I have forgotten how to put in the nutmegs to make the... Start 100% from the top." At last the snow pudding was finished. Uncle Wiggily dropped it into the box full of... At last the snow pudding was finished. Uncle Wiggily dropped it into the... Hello! What have we here? Asked the Pipsisewah. Hello! What have we here? Asked the Pipsisewah. Pip. Hello! What have we here? Asked the Pipsisewah. We're going to redo that whole thing just in case. They bit too hard on the nutmeg.